Welcome to New Hampshire Politics with John Burt. I'm John Burt. I want to thank you for joining me, and today our special guest is Representative PamTucker, and she represents Greenland. How are you doing, Pam?
Well, thank you so much for having me on the show.
Well, Pam, it's a delight to have you on. I am hearing exciting news that you are going to run for New Hampshire 1st Congressional District. Is that true?
Well, I've launched an exploratory committee.
So there is a difference?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
So I launched an exploratory committee about a week ago to explore the possibility of running for Congress in Congressional District 1, which is, as you know, the eastern half for the most part of the state.
Yes.
You know, minus towns here, plus towns there because of redistricting. And so I've launched the exploratory to see what it's like out there. What is the mood or the appetite if I was to enter the race?
Oh, well, what have you found so far?
People are hungry. No, in all seriousness, it's been very good response. I've asked, and so what I'm doing is calling activists and people around the district and asking them, well, what do you think? And I'm going to events and talking to people about what are the issues out there that are facing you. What do you think? Would I be a good candidate? Because a lot of people know me from being in the House. And so I like to hear what their feedback is. As you know, sometimes you center yourself around all the people who are closest to you and you want to hear only what they say. But I feel it's important to hear what everyone has to say. And so I'm out there trying to meet as many people as I can to get a real feel for what the district would like. Yeah.
Well, what's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you if they wanted to? I mean, if they held a house party just to have you over and talk, would you go?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Right, how would they get a hold of you?
Okay, I have a website now. It's Pam, the number 4, newhampshire.com.
Oh,
and we just launched it, and there is a place where you can contact me on there as well.
Perfect. All right. No, I'm sure you'll get hopefully some phone calls out of that, and because or emails, because it is best to have you stop right in.
Oh, sure. I'm very interested in hearing from everyone.
Now, how long have you been a state representative?
I was elected in 2008 with the Obama wave.
Wow.
Yes.
How did you get in on that year?
Well, you work hard.
I heard a lot of Republicans took a bath.
They did. Actually, in the State House, we gained 17 more seats.
Really?
Yes, we did. 2006, the State House went to Democratic control, and then in 2008, we gained back 17 seats, and then, of course, you were part of the 2010.
Yes.
When we
that huge wave. I jumped on that that board.
Yeah, I don't see that tsunami coming again anytime soon.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
It would be nice, especially with the presidential year coming up. But we really need to get out there and work, and that's how you get it. And talk to the people, and don't assume anything.
Yes. Yeah. Now, you are married with a couple children, and what does your family think about this?
Oh, my goodness. Well, after 7 years of being up in the house, my family's used to me going and going up to Concord. I used to do it like 4 days a week when I was in a leadership role.
Yes.
I've cut back to just being on a committee or two now, and so my family's really used to me doing all of the political events during the day as well as at night, because as you know, you got to get out there and see everybody.
That's
and
right.
Do some handshaking, but that's the fun part of it.
It is. I love the campaigning part.
Oh, it is, because you're up in Concord and you do work hard, and everyone does of both political parties. We really do try to do what's best for the people of New Hampshire.
Yes, I think we do.
I really do. I think we have the best interests at heart. And so that when you're done with all that hard work or reading all those bills and listening in all those committees, it's nice to go out and talk to other people and just kind of let loose a little bit and talk to people and just have a good time. So I enjoy the social aspect of it as well.
Yeah, no, that's good. And tell me a little bit more about your experience other than what you've done at the State House. What can you bring down to D.C. When you end up going down? Oh, sure.
When? It's if.
Yes,
it's if.
That's true.
We're an exploratory committee. And in all seriousness, we are exploring it and doing what we need to do to explore. Well, up at the State House, as you know, we've stuck to our guns. And I think that's one of the most important things when you're talking about what can happen down in D.C. A lot of people, in fact, about 2/3 of this country, think that our country's headed in the wrong direction.
Yes.
And we've elected people to go down there and start changing that.
Yes.
Well, we're not seeing that happening. We're seeing the debt ceiling continue to go up and up and up.
Yes.
And you and we're going to be okay in the long run here because we're a little bit older. But what about our kids?
Yeah.
And what about grandkids? They're stuck with this 20 trillion right now, and it could grow.
Oh, it will grow.
So what do we do about that? Are we going to continue to kick the ball down the road and continue to grow that debt? Someday it's got to stop.
Yes. Yeah.
And so if I was to go to Washington, I would work on stopping all of this legislating in crisis mode. Because that's what they're doing down there. It's like, oh, we're in a crisis now. We have to pass this. We can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
We can't. We have to take a very solid approach to where we're at and where we got to go and make the necessary votes to make that happen. We really do.
Yeah. And so you think you can get down there and grab a leadership spot and hopefully guide the rest of them.
Oh, sure. I'm going to run for speaker.
Well, you should, because I think you'd be great.
Absolutely not.
But that's the problem is people get down there and they just get into this rut, and then they start voting.
With the group.
Yeah, with the group, and so we're going to hopefully get you down there and see different on that.
Well, if I was to go down there, I think my record proves that I would stick to my guns. Yeah. And we've had some pretty tough votes in the past, and you've been there through them with people yelling at us. I mean, physically yelling at us. I'm sure you got harassing phone calls, right? But you still did what was right.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what we have to do. We just have to stick to our guns and stick to our principles, because you see, and even on the national level right now, when you look at the presidentials, all the presidential candidates coming up.
Yeah.
People are looking for someone with leadership out there and someone who isn't part of the DC voice that's going on down there. They're looking for an independent voice. Now, I'm not supporting any presidential candidate at this time. I don't know if you are. Yeah. But it's interesting that you see Dr. Carson and Mr. Trump and even Ms. Fiorina up there in the polls. I don't say even, but she's up there as well. And she's on the center stage. They're up there because people are looking for someone who is going to make a difference and who isn't been part of the problem. They want someone who's going to be part of the solution. Yes. And if I was to go to DC, I would be part of the solution.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly what we need. Because I think if we can get enough of you throughout the country down there like that, with that same mindset, I think we can turn things around.
Oh, without a doubt. And as you know, being in the New Hampshire House, I imagine being down in DC is very similar. There's 435 down there, there's 400 up here, so a voice of one doesn't do a whole lot, and we know that. But what we do, and you do it with your committee, you do it with your town, you do it with your caucus, is you form little coalitions to get things passed. And like when you work on a bill, you might be working with someone down in Nashua who has the same goals as you do on it. But you build those coalitions so you can all work together and do what's right.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you have a larger voice. And then they tell two friends, and
and then it just keeps
and so on and so on. I'm dating myself now.
And once you get that success, people want to. It's like at the New Hampshire State House, people want to join your team.
Yes, and when you're doing the right thing and you're sticking to your principles, that's what people are hungry for now. They're tired of people saying, "I'm going to do something different." We elect them, they go down there, and they become part of the problem.
And this is both sides.
Oh, without a doubt. I'm not blaming anybody. Yeah. This is it's a
but
problem
both
with DC.
Sides are hungry for something new.
Yes.
And that's what they want.
Yes, you see that with Sanders out there.
Yes, that makes me a little nervous, but
what?
Bernie Sanders is a socialist.
A democratic socialist.
Yes, Well, when I look at Hillary, I'm going, oh. Yeah, I can't imagine that either.
Well, my goal would be, if I was to run, is to help make sure that Nancy Pelosi is not elected Speaker of the House again.
That's right.
That's my goal.
Yes, and that's what we got to make sure. Now, it looks like it's going to be somewhat of a crowded field in the Congressional District 1. Mm-hmm. What is your thoughts on that? Will that hurt the group, or will it make it stronger?
Well, you know, primaries are a good thing,
Yes.
as some say. Of course, no one wants one.
Yes.
You've been through one, I
Oh,
imagine.
many times.
Yeah, but they are a good thing because it really does vet the candidates, and we see that right now, even on the national level with these presidential debates. At least on the Republican side, we see it with presidential debates,
Yes.
where we're actually hearing what these candidates believe in and what they're going to stand for. And I imagine there will be other candidates who come out. There was only one person who has entered the CD1 race, the Congressional District 1 race, and I haven't entered yet. I'm still in exploratory mode. So
Yes.
looking at that as well, I don't know if the current rep is going to enter or not. We'll see what happens. But I think having a primary does sharpen you and make you the best candidate.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And now, you know, you're going to probably have some debates, you know,
Yes.
hopefully in some forums that, you know, people get to meet you.
Yes, are you going to have a debate?
I am. We're working on them right now.
Good.
Yeah, so hopefully, you know, we'll be announcing that at some point, and hopefully you'll accept the offer to attend.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good record up there of sticking to my principles, don't you think?
Yes, yes.
So limited government, not spending more than we take in. I think those are important issues.
Yeah. Now, what do you think on the national level that we could do to the debt? I mean, you know, $20 trillion. I mean, how are we going to even attempt to whittle on that?
Exactly. And when you say $20 trillion, most people can't even phantom that. It's like, what's beyond outer space? It's that big of a number. And the first thing we have to do is stop spending more and making that bigger.
Yes.
And there you stop when, as we say, you know, when a boat's leaking, what's the first thing you do?
Yes.
You plug the holes. So let's stop that first. And then we can start looking at how to make government more efficient.
Now, can we do it through, you know, like business regulations? You know, aren't we like over-regulating everybody to force them over to other countries?
Oh my goodness, there's a lot of that going on. Well, that's part of it. I mean, it's a lot of things. You can't say it's just this piece that's causing it. You say, is it wages that are doing? Is it government regulation? It's a lot of things, John, and you know that as well as I do, especially working up at the State House.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is we have to take it piece by piece. Regulations are very stifling to businesses, and it is costing businesses, what, almost $1.9 trillion a year.
Wow.
So think of that. If we could take some of that money and the businesses could reinvest it
Yes.
for either new technology or hiring people to grow their businesses, then we can grow the tax base of the businesses. And we can create more jobs and grow that tax base. So we can grow the economy by reducing some of these regulations. That's one piece of it. And also take away some of these regulations too. So you see, it's multiple pieces that we need to hit in order. We had to grow the economy, and that will also, when we talk about unemployment and people who aren't working, there'll be more jobs and there'll be more opportunities. So again, there you go. There's more revenue coming in as more people are working. That will help as well. But we need to look at the government also and look at those regulations and cut back on the regulations, the unnecessary ones. Now we know some are unnecessary. You and I, we can't say, oh, no government.
Yes. Yeah, no, we have to have, you know, unlimited government.
We do, limited government. And so we go to what is the purpose of government? And that's where we start.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I look at the EPA, you know, everybody, you know, says, well, you know, Nixon was the one that started it. Well, yes, but he started it because the rivers were blue and red depending on what paper the paper mill was making.
Yes, and starting a fire.
Yes, and I understand we need to fix that.
Yes.
You know, but some of these departments, I think, have gone too far into controlling, you know, with these regulations, shutting businesses down, really. It's just easier to go elsewhere.
Well, it's interesting when you talk about government regulation. It affects almost every aspect of our lives. Think about your mailbox. It has to be a certain setback, has to be a certain size.
Yes.
Government's regulating your mailbox.
Yeah.
What else does it regulate? The size of your drinks in some cities.
Yes,
okay?
yeah.
What type of bag you have. I mean, simple things like that. And certainly they have good intentions, but are they really necessary?
Yes.
And that's what we have to look at and decide what is the proper role of government too.
Yeah, yeah. Now, some of the presidential candidates, and I don't know if we're going to hear in the, the Senate and the Congressional districts debates, but, they talk a lot about the border. And I don't think it's just, keeping the illegals out. I think there's a lot more to it to control our borders.
Without a doubt, and I couldn't agree with you more. We are a country, and we do have borders.
Yes.
And we have every right, and that's one of the fundamental roles of government, is to secure us and secure our borders.
Yes.
Now, do we need to build a huge fence? Certainly in some places, I think that would be necessary.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of technological advances in the past 10, 20 years. My goodness, remember the old phones?
Yes.
The bags? And now our little kids are running around with this tiny little thing that has their lives on it. We have that technology that we can have our borders monitored by technology and know what's coming in and out. And we have to secure our borders because you're right, it's not just about people coming across, it's about drugs that are coming across. And especially here in Greater Manchester,
Yep.
there's a big problem, as we know, with opioids and illegal drugs coming across. That's an issue. What's next? Terrorists coming across because we have a porous border? We don't need that.
Yep.
The role of government is to protect us, and they need to do that. And securing our borders is a very high priority.
Yeah. No, I really do think, it's not just the one aspect. It really is more. It's the whole, picture of it, and, we have to secure.
Sure. And immigration is a piece of that
Yes.
as well. We have illegal immigration. But we have a lot of people here who are trying to get into our country and become citizens.
But if they're here on good intentions, I say welcome.
Exactly.
But let's do it legally.
Exactly. And so those people have been waiting, and they're filling out the paperwork.
Yeah.
We've got to work on a process to make it happen a little bit quicker than 15 years, as you hear in some cases. That needs to be addressed because we need people to come into our country who are going to be productive members. And it's not fair for these people who've gone through all the paperwork, they've jumped through hoops to become legal citizens or work here legally in the country. It's not fair to them for someone to bypass all of them through an illegal act of crossing our border.
Yes.
So we need to honor those who are here legally and obviously us and protect us first. And then for the people who've come here illegally, we need to address, and we need to find an answer together on it. It's not a Republican or Democratic issue. It is an issue for all of us, and we need to address it together. And that would also be a priority of mine.
Yeah.
And do I have all the answers?
Well,
I hope me and 434 of the other people, if I go to DC, would.
yeah. Now, how quick do you think you'll make up your mind? I mean, how long do you want to, explore the option?
Well, I've just started it, so it's still in its infancy, if you will. So it certainly wouldn't be tomorrow if I was to announce. It's the holiday time. People are thinking turkeys.
Yeah.
People are thinking families. Not any time in this quarter. I'll probably wait until the first quarter of next year if I choose to run. And that way, it gives me a little bit more time to talk to people, to get out there and get all the way across the district. Plus, it gives me time with my family.
Yes, yeah.
And all those Christmas parties and holiday parties.
Yeah. And again, the way people get a hold of you is pam4newhampshire.com. And
Yes,
the
and
number 4.
yes, and there's an email on there, pam@pam4newhampshire.com out there.
Yeah, good. And now, what other major topics do you think, is facing our nation's issues? Like infrastructure. I mean, we have roads that need to be repaired. Sadly, on the Obama side, they find it success that we have so many more people on food stamps, which I find that as a failure. I would prefer to make sure we have good jobs so we don't have to have that extra 4 or 5, 8 million people on food stamps. There's that issues. What do you think about those areas?
Well, that's a good issue that you bring up. And why are these people on food stamps? Well, it's because they probably don't have enough money to pay for their food as well as pay for their bills.
Yes.
And that, you're right, is a travesty in our country and one of the richest countries in the world.
Yep.
The way to remedy that is to get good jobs out there and good paying jobs for them. And you do that by letting the economy grow and getting government out of the way. Back to all of those regulations we were talking about.
Yeah.
We can talk about taxes. We can talk about our domestic money that's in overseas accounts that we are not bringing back here because of the tax burden. What if they brought all that money back in? Just think of the boom we would have in this country.
It'd be huge.
Exactly. So those are things we can do to help these people get a lift up and a lift out. I mean, we talk about the hammock, versus the net versus the hammock. Right now, they're down there because and they're taking food stamps because there aren't those opportunities.
Yes, yeah, I really do think that.
And you and me, we want everyone to have opportunities. I want my kids to have better opportunities than I did as well.
Yeah.
So if we get government out of the way and let the market take over and lift everybody up, rising tide lifts all boats. Those people, I know they want to work. I know they want to get great paying jobs. We just got to get government out of the way and let the free enterprise system make it happen.
Absolutely. That's what I've always believed in. No, you're right on. But, well, we're toward the end of the show, and I just want to thank you for coming on. I mean, is there anything that you want to close with? Again, how people get a hold of you, and basically, why are you looking at this?
Well, I'm very happy to be on your show. They can get a hold of me on my website at www.pam4newhampshire.com, or as my husband would say, 4, because the Patriots won 4 times. And I'd love to hear from everyone, their thoughts of whether I should run, and what their thoughts are on the national situation as well.
Yeah, great. And I'm sure you get a lot of emails. So I tell everybody when I tell people my address, my email address. I say, no, give me a couple days to get back with you.
Sure.
I would love to immediately respond, but
yes. How many emails haven't you read?
Well, that's it. Yeah.
And it's not from constituents. It's the ones that you get all of those other emails from every group in the world out there.
Yeah. Or an email from California concerned about something that's going on in New Hampshire. I'm like, okay, I do respond to them, but it takes me a while.
Or earn $1 million at home.
Yes.
I love those.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for coming on, Pam. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Again, this is New Hampshire Politics with John Burt, and we're talking with PamTucker, and make sure you check her website out at pam4newhampshire.com. And I'll talk to you later. Thank you.